If you're not using Ethernet cables on all your cameras and your iPad, it's important to be on a clear Wi-Fi channel. So Wi-Fi channels will basically get overloaded. So this is a spectrum analysis of the 2 gigahertz networks. And there, at least in the Mac app, there's a way to check what is an open channel so that you can get the packets through quickly. So in the wireless diagnostics, it brings up this menu on Mac. But that dialog you can ignore. If you open the window and then click scan, it will find you the best network. So this, once scanned and sorted by channel, you can see where things are sitting on the network. But it'll analyze all the networks and find the best 2 gigahertz network and the best 5 gigahertz network for you. So that makes things pretty simple, but I recommend that even after you switch to the recommended one or the closest one you can get to, that you scan it again and just double check it. Sometimes it will populate the list differently depending on how your network's set up. So another important thing for IP video is the data rate out. So if you go to Google, you can search like speed test, online speed test, and it'll check what your download and your upload rate is. If you're trying to stream out at 1080/60 at 5 megs, it's not going to work if you're using a cellular network out in the woods. So if you run speed test, it'll tell you what it is. So running a speed test here, my download rate is super crazy, but my upload rate is the important one for streaming. So if I was trying to stream at 5 megs right now, that would still be kind of pushing it because occasionally you get hits on the network. So I would do, I don't know, 50-60% of what that number is. And if you test again and run the test a few times, you'll get a more accurate average. So those are the most important things for streaming. Outside of that, make sure all your devices have line of sight to the router so that there's not a lot of obstacles in the way. And if you're setting up a router and a camera, say during intermissions or something, you have to acknowledge where the people are going to be walking. So if you have a camera here and the router here, and it's perfect line of sight when you set it up, but the crowd is going to stand between that, it's not going to work out. So yeah, that's baseline best practices. There's a lot of other things to consider. If you're having issues though, it's going to be pretty dependent on your network and your channels and your line of sight. Also, don't ever use like a venue's Wi-Fi network. I've never had a good experience. If you can't log into the router and change the settings yourself, don't even consider using it as a IP video option. Yeah, good luck.